Greetings Commanders, Stealth Boy here, also known as Odyssey. Today I wanted to expand upon my previous video, Anarchy Infiltration, where I explained how you can find an anarchy settlement and infiltrate it to take all of the materials, but also silently kill all of the criminal targets that you encounter. If you want to know more about this, I recommend watching that video as I go into more detail on this process. Today's video will follow the same principles, but this time I'll be infiltrating the command center. Rude. Excuse me while I deal with this. Anyway, as I was saying, today's video will follow the same principles of my previous guide. Now, this time I will be infiltrating the command center of a military settlement owned by a criminal faction. This is one of the fastest ways to obtain weapon and suit schematics, critical components used in upgrading weapons and suits, but also lets you play the role of a badass ninja assassin. And later on, I'm going to go through that in detail as to how you can do this. And just to recap on the previous video, these are the steps you can take to find a prime target for Anarchy Infiltration. You can find missions named Settlement Raid, where you're asked to exterminate the criminal faction members. These are specifically targeted for you toward anarchy settlements. And this is a good way to locate a target to attack, but this isn't the most reliable method as it's governed by the background simulation system, and so these missions aren't always available. The other method is to simply find a criminal faction first, and then look in the system map to locate any Odyssey settlements that they control, and these will be shown as anarchy. In this video, I take that search one step further by using Inara, the well-known crowdsourcing tool online, and I use this to find systems near to me that a criminal faction controls, giving me even more options. Now, today I want to find a military settlement, so I begin by looking for a criminal faction that's quite well known in the Odyssey Alpha, and that's the player faction Raxler Research. Inara isn't pointed towards the Alpha BGS, but that doesn't matter because not a lot has changed, and this is certainly going to be one of the best places to use when Odyssey goes live. I search for Raxler Research and I can see all the systems that they inhabit. I recognise Ngandua from the 50 light year bubble that the Alpha occupies, so I look there, but I can see Raxler aren't the controlling faction, and this will limit the number of settlements they control, and so limit my options. Instead, I check out Anarchy, as I can see they've got a large influence value. And sure enough, they are the controlling faction, and so this system is a perfect candidate for me to visit. Now that I'm in Anarchy, I can look on the system map and bring up the points of interest. Here I can browse through a list of all the Odyssey settlements in the system, looking for those which are controlled by Raxler Research. You can see there are lots of options, and this is because they are the controlling faction. We've got all sorts of settlement types here to choose from, but the type I'm interested in is the military, and they tend to have names that sound militaristic, like armament, camp, and defence. I found a candidate here, Ortega Defence Complex, and I can double check the information tab and confirm that it is indeed owned by Raxler and is listed as an anarchy settlement. So I plot my course. So, whilst I supercruise to my destination, I will recap the reasons raiding an anarchy settlement is beneficial if you're looking for upgrade materials. One method of finding materials is to scavenge an inactive settlement, and I think this is probably the most popular method used by players at the moment. The reason why that's good is because you can go about your business without being disturbed most of the time. But the only reliable way to locate these is via the reactivate settlement missions, and there's no solid way to find these without a lot of manual searching in-game. Nothing in the system map nor anywhere else will tell you that a settlement is inactive, and you can spend a lot of time searching for these without any positive results. You can, of course, employ the stealth tactic and infiltrate military settlement command buildings without being detected, and this is viable, and I've demonstrated that this can be done in previous guides. But the specific room where the tech lockers are located, which is where we're heading today, will always have 2 worker NPCs inside. These can be tricky to navigate around without being detected. If you search through a few different locations, then you can eventually find one where these two workers move in a specific way that gives you more space to operate. But this itself also takes time to find. So the benefit of finding an Anarchy settlement is that it's possible to do it quite quickly. You can find an Anarchy-controlled system easily in-game. You can search the system for Odyssey settlements in the system map, and so you can easily locate a specific type of settlement that you need. All of this can be done in the game. And because we're going to kill anyone that gets in our way, it really doesn't matter about the two workers in the tech locker room on account of them being dead. And because they are a criminal faction, you won't incur any penalty for killing them. It really is a win-win scenario. And the icing on the cake is that some will have a bounty on their heads, and you'll get extra credits and reputation rewards for this as well. So we're almost at our destination, and I'm going to skip ahead now to the main part of the guide, which is where I'll show you how to infiltrate a military settlement like a ninja assassin and take names as you go. So as always, I'm going to switch to my Maverick suits as my go-to choice for infiltration, and that's mainly because of the carrying capacity. We want to be able to carry as many materials as possible. And just before I do that, I'm just going to cash in on my bounty voucher for killing the pirate en route here. And I'm ready to go. So if you want to repeat this process, I'd recommend disembarking with your SRV first. You want to be leaving the SRV just around about here, and you'll respawn and then be able to dump off all your goods before you repeat this process. That's when you quit out at the end of this. So at this point, you can pretty much just run straight through the middle with no reason to worry about being detected. Not committed any crimes. We've not scanned anybody. In fact, we're not going to clone anybody at all. And the reason why we won't clone anybody on this run is because it's just not necessary. It certainly makes it easier if you're going to be going through a lot of different security doors. In this case, we only need to break through 2. So cutting is definitely more efficient. I'm going to go straight through the front door on this one because actually no guards tend to come past here, so you can pretty much do this without being disturbed. And so as I pointed out in the previous guide, killing with the energy link tool will take a lot of power, so I always remember to top up my power whenever I can. There tends to be a worker in this area here. You really don't want them to see you while you're actually in the restricted area. So the first port of call at this point is always to take this one down. So I'm just waiting for them to carry on. I'm going to scan them and see if they've got a bounty.
No bounty detected.
Well, they don't, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to take them out anyway using the overload function. And I'll just quickly check here, just make sure there's nobody else around just in case they spot that body. And I'll just check around here as well just to make sure there's nobody else. And sometimes there can be a couple around this area. I'll quickly top up on my energy while I'm here. I tend to open this door because it's just a better way to break in. The other door, I imagine you could probably do the same, but this is the one I'm used to. And always tend to crouch as I come in here, remain undetected. And I'm just going to very carefully just edge out, make sure I don't get spotted as I come around to this side. Now, in every scenario, I've always been able to open this locker without detection. It seems to me that no work has ever come here. So I've got myself a ship schematic. That could have been a weapon schematic or a suit schematic. This side doesn't tend to give the best rewards, although it's worth picking all of these goods up. It's the other large tech locker. That's the ultimate goal. Now at this point you just need to be really careful not to get spotted. You can see on your map, you can see that they're moving. You can actually detect them. So what I'm going to do is wait until the right moment and scan.
Bounty detected.
We've got a bounty. and there's usually another work on the other side. But at this point, I'm pretty confident that I can just go straight round and get my first kill. There they are. And this one, they tend to stay by that window for a few seconds, so it gives me time to scan them. And we may as well take them out so that we can operate in complete freedom from now on. And you can't see me from the side. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty short and sweet. Nobody will come and disturb us now. So I can quite happily open this tech locker up. This is the one that tends to have all of the real goodies in. Ship schematic. Unfortunately, I don't think I get a weapon schematic in this time, but you will do if you just keep repeating this. But all of these are going to be probably worth having in the main game. So that's it. Short and sweet. That took less than 4.5 minutes to complete and is a really quick way to get lots of useful materials for upgrading. You can use this method to break into any complex, and once the panel bug is fixed, you can use this to disable alarms and other features, defense features, and you can use this to effortlessly break into power buildings, install the power regulator for upgrading your suits, all while getting bounty rewards and with no fear of being penalised yourself. So that's it for today. I hope you found that useful. Until next time, stay stealthy, Commanders. Goodbye.